Your Life in Sex Island, Chapter 5, picking up the tab, page 128. Who pays how much tax on income, wealth, and purchases? We are now at $10 million in our look at realistic people making $10,000 per year, $100,000 per year, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, and last $1 billion in 1 year. Donald and David make $10 million per year. Donald drank too much when he was in high school and college. Donald's dad was a psychology professor, dean of the department at Dreadnought University, and he simply could not understand Donald. Donald's dear mother was a Southern Baptist preacher. She simply could not understand Donald. He was expelled from 2 different high schools. He would surely break Mom and Dad's hearts. So effing smart and pissing it all away. Everybody tissed him. The pastor gave up on him. The principal of Danforth High gave up on him. What a shame, he said. So bright. What a loss. 3 counselors gave up on him. All the advisors gave up on him. The dean of the mathematics department, Professor Daniel Doppenhaus, did not give up on him. Donald was almost as good drunk as he was sober, and the dean only laughed when Donald said that he was in love with David and intended to marry him. The dean was only slightly surprised to learn that Donald was gay. The dean could love anyone who could prove to his satisfaction that string theory was a dud. In addition, Donald developed a brand new iterative paradigm to solve the traveling salesman problem. The dean with Donald was like the horse whisperer with horses. No one else could tame him, but the dean could. The dean got him through English and German and composition and all the other freshman junk. Donald, why learn this shit after you graduate with a D average? You most certainly are going to learn it someday. Why not learn it before the test and graduate with an A average? Another lucky break came when Donald took economics with Professor Dormitcrotch. Donald was one of those kids you noticed because he asked relevant questions that the professor had never thought of, and the next day Donald, would answer them. Sure, Dormitcrotch and Doppenhaus were academicians, but they were not averse to money. Money did not give them hives. Where do you go if you want money? You go to banking, insurance, or stocks and bonds. Donald developed some damn stock market algorithms that were very interesting. Donald and the professors, took a year's stock market history and they tested the damned algorithms. Then they took a 10-year stock history on the university's high-speed computer, and the damned algorithms did not fail them. It took a full year with real money, the professors remortgaged, with Donald a full partner, to test the algorithms in the real world, in the real stock market. Wow. They worked. David was brought in as a partner too, and their little investment club grew and grew. The first year, they did a 48% return. The second, 33%. Donald's parents stopped tisking and became investors in the little club. David's parents were socialites and had friends with a little money, and soon Donald and friends had to name and register their little club. They called it the Devotional Fund in honor of Donald's mother and to hint that they were in league with God. It was soon noticed by some of the big boys, and Damien Brothers Investment Bank took them in. The little club soon carried a big club. Professors Dormitcrotch and Doppenhaus took leaves of absence and joined the Devotional Club. By some estimates, Donald was still a kid. Donald needed Dormitcrotch and Doppenhaus's gravitas, and the professors needed Donald's algorithms. The 4 of them, including David, would groupthink and come up with new instruments and derivatives, and then test them at the university's high-speed computer. And they worked spectacularly, as they usually did. They would sell the hell out of them and make piles and piles. Everybody trusted them so that they could print derivative stock certificates that only had imaginary backing and sell them for whatever number they printed on the front. Then later, they didn't even have to print a number. Investors bought and sold them as though they were actually represented something besides a piece of paper. The pieces of paper were treated like a stock or a bond, which were really backed by something solid. They could not lose. Start compounding millions and then billions and billions at 30 or 40%, add fees and fees and fees and bonuses, and in a few short, spectacular years, you have a fortune. Is everybody happy? They gave the derivative funds nice sounding names, which didn't exactly reflect or reveal what they were actually selling. The Progress Fund, the Freedom Fund, the Fortune Fund, the Apostles Fund. They had peaked at the politician's playbook. These are honest men, but they are blowing up this balloon so fast you have to worry about them. What if? Pray for them. Professor Dorman Crotch admittedly from the first did not understand the math, but he did understand the stock market and the economy much better than the others. When he ran the historic computer simulations, he was worried that the numbers flipped a bit even during light recessions. What the hell is this? What is wrong? He ran the simulations even further back through the 1920s, back through the first Great Depression. Then the numbers did more than flip a bit, the numbers blew up. Then he studied economic fundamentals, not just corporate stock fundamentals. Then he flipped. The economy was worse in the 2000s than it was in the 1920s. Dorman Crotch conferred with his partners, and they all became concerned. But they couldn't stop now. But Dorman Crotch pulled all of the partners' money out of the funds and searched for stodgy companies. He wanted companies involved in commodities whose PE was steady for long periods of time, even through recessions. He wanted companies whose book value was greater than their stock market value. He wanted fundamental commodities. Rather than real estate, he liked construction. Rather than construction, he liked lumber or nails. Rather than lumber or nails, he liked logging or steel. Rather than logging or steel, he liked forests or mines. He wanted his and their money out of the derivative funds. Donald didn't flaunt his newfound wealth, but he wasn't a monk either. They bought a fine penthouse condo with fine furnishings, wine, and catered dinner parties. The roof outside their windows was like a verdant park. What the hell, why not? If this blows up, and it's not going to, we will just make a killing at something else, something more fun. There's always pornography, and you don't have to deal with these asshole stuffed shirt, empty head bankers. We find Donald with a net worth of $50 million and an annual income of $10 million. Nice work if you can get it. Effing taxes, goddamn government. We ought to start buying us some damn senators, maybe even an effing president. With all the G-damn wealth we are creating, we shouldn't have to pay taxes. The goddamn government ought to pay us, for Christ's sakes. We're keeping the economy running. Donald and David lived frugally but well. Housing, $60,000. Food, $18,000. Transportation, $7,800. Clothes, $1,200. Utilities, $2,400. Furniture, the same. Other, $9,600. Medical, $14,000. Income tax, a little more than $500,000. Investments, $9 million. The total percent of their income paid in taxes, 32%. Percent of their wealth paid in taxes, 6.4%. Income remaining after expenses and taxes, $3.5 million. Wealth remaining after expenses and taxes, $53 million. So Donald and David pay about 32% of their income in taxes of one kind or another. Almost a third is not a trivial portion of your income. The taxes on their wealth are rather modest, 6.4%, and the total taxes as a percent of their wealth is under 10% at 6.4%, and their wealth increases by over $6 million. Purchase the book now by clicking on the link in the description below.